Virtual reality. It's a pretty nerdy subject, isn't it? And I think it's only right you hear about virtual reality from a fully fledged nerd. Me. Now, I can see on your faces, I know you're thinking, how can I possibly be such a massive nerd when I look so much like Bruce Willis? Right? Yeah? It's okay. I get that a lot. So I've brought along 2 little pieces of proof to validate my nerd credentials. This is Ronnie and Heidi, my twin babies. And on the days that it's Daddy's turn to get them up and dressed in the morning, this is often how they end up looking. Now, as I'm sure any parent will testify, there's something seriously wrong with this picture, apart from the fact that a human female agreed to breed with me, is the fact that after all the sleepless nights and puke explosions, I realise now I should have dressed them both as Darth Vader. Okay, I'd like to start off with a bit of audience interaction. So what I'd like you to do is just to raise your hand for the next few questions. Now, before today, please raise your hand if you've ever heard about virtual reality. Please raise your hand. Pretty solid start, that's good. Now, please raise your hand if before today you'd ever experienced virtual reality for yourself, you'd ever tried it. Okay, that's pretty good, better than average. Now, final question, please raise your hand if you believe virtual reality is going to change the world. Not bad. There's a few people who don't know, so hopefully by the end of today's talk I'd have convinced all of you that it will definitely change the world. So, for those of you who don't know, what is virtual reality? Essentially, virtual reality is a system where videos don't play, and you put a virtual reality headset onto your face, which then takes over your vision, and you can look around in a 3D world and immerse yourself in it like you're really there. Don't know. Skip me ahead. Skip me ahead, see if that works. Don't close it. For God's sake, don't close it. Just click. That's it.
Stop making up stories.
I knew I should have let Guy do it.
This is software.
Is it?
Yeah.
Bear with me. So what we're going to get into next, I'm going to talk to you through a bit about what you can do with virtual reality. Hopefully. Rock on, Tommy. Okay, so yeah, as you can see, this is the HDTV. He's just putting on the headset and he's, looking around. And you get a really good sense of depth. So what can you do with virtual reality? You can do some really amazing things because it's taking you to a completely different place. You can climb Everest. You can walk on the moon. You can go back in time. You can go forward in time. You can realise your wildest dreams. You can be a Star Trek captain, or you can live through a zombie apocalypse. You can fly. You can fly across Paris like an eagle. You can stand at the bottom of the ocean. And you never need to miss your daughter's birthday again. It's really powerful stuff and it's really exciting. So, where did VR come from? Many of you think of virtual reality as being quite a modern thing, but actually its roots go much further back than that. So, going back to the early 1800s, artists would paint murals on a wall in a circular room to really make people feel like they're immersed in the battle that was happening all around them. Fast forward to 1991, and this is probably what many of you think of being the first virtual reality experience. Virtuality might bring back some fond memories to some of you. It was rubbish, big heavy headset on your head, really bad graphics, really bad latency. It just wasn't a very good experience, and it kind of killed the virtual reality industry dead all on its own when it was trying to start it. And nothing really happened that was all that exciting until in 2011, an electronics and virtuality enthusiast and collector called Palmer Luckey was fed up with the state of the virtuality market and decided to create a virtuality headset of his own, and he called it the Oculus Rift. Now, the Oculus Rift was picked up by John Carmack, the inventor of Doom, and he took it to the Electronics Expo and demoed a version of Doom on the Oculus Rift. The interest it generated subsequently pretty much broke the internet, and the crowdfunding campaign that Oculus had launched to fund development of the Rift reached 10 times its original target, and so was born the new era of virtual reality. Since that time, development has progressed until 2016, the year we're in now, when the two major players in the market have released their full-feature headsets, the HTC Vive and the Oculus Rift, both of which you can try today if you wish. They both have their positives and negatives. The Vive has what we call room scale VR, which enables you to walk around in a room-sized environment, like you're really there. But it's a bit of a nightmare to set up, and it's big and bulky. And the Oculus Rift is smaller, lighter, but you don't have that room scale VR, at least not yet. So with virtuality content, there are kind of two sides to it really. You've got on one side 360 videos and 360 photos, which many of you have probably seen on Facebook and that kind of thing. And on the other side, you've got real-time 3D VR content. And the main disadvantages and advantages between the two are with 360 video and photos, you're only ever able to view the experience from the spot the camera is in, and you can't interact with the environment around you, you can't move around in that environment. Whereas with real-time 3D VR, you're able to interact and you're able to move around, but it's maybe not quite as realistic, at least not yet. So there's another big part of the puzzle, which is augmented and mixed reality. And basically what that is instead of virtuality, which kind of immerses you in a completely 3D environment, augmented reality or mixed reality overlays 3D objects and imagery over the top of the real world that you see through in a pair of goggles. So this is from Google's Magic Leap project, and here you can see someone interacting with a computer game within their own home, and they're just about to set it up and then start, shooting at baddies and that kind of stuff. So these guns on the table aren't really here, they're just projected onto their field of vision in the goggles. And you can actually pick them up and interact with them like they're actual objects. So yeah, it's pretty amazing. So just think about this in terms of e-commerce. Like imagine products for your customers overlaid in their home. They can actually see like it's really there. So will it take off? This is the big question. The simple answer to that is yes, and it pretty much already has. But we can draw a lot of comparisons between virtuality and the smartphone market. So this is a photo taken in 2005 at the Vatican and the announcement of the new Pope. This photo predates the iPhone by 2 years. Now we didn't have to wait long for a new Pope to come along, so just fast forward 8 years, same situation, same photo, but 8 years further into the future, and it's a very different story. Now, actually, if you'd taken these photos in 2007 and 2011, you've pretty much got exactly the same thing, such as the growth of the smartphone market. And it's quite rapid, isn't it? So, this was the growth of the smartphone market between 2007 and 2011. It basically grew to about $200 billion. And the virtuality and augmented reality market is set to grow between 2016 and 2020 anywhere between $150 billion and $450 billion. So more or less at least as fast as smartphone growth, if not twice as fast. So it's fairly reasonable to expect that the virtuality headsets and augmented reality headsets will be very much an integral part of our lives within a very, very short space of time. Now this is a comparison of the prediction between virtuality versus augmented reality. So actually, as you can see, the much bigger part of the industry is augmented reality. And one of the biggest parts of the augmented reality market is eCommerce. So not e-commerce, eCommerce, like augmented commerce. So people actually buying things in their augmented world. Okay, and this is where you guys need to be probably quicker than you realise. And this is kind of the thing that, kind of behaviours that people will be experiencing within a few short years. So also to help with the growth of the virtual reality market is mobile VR. Now all of you have, as a gift from us, a virtual reality headset in your goodie bags. And this is a mobile VR headset. It means you can put your smartphone into the headset and straight away you can have a virtual reality experience. That's because the technology in a smartphone is actually very similar to that in a virtual reality headset. It has an accelerometer and an LCD screen, and even though the ones in the virtual reality headsets are a bit more advanced, they still do exactly the same job. A really significant event happened in 2014 when Facebook bought Oculus for $2 billion. And a lot of people wondered why they were doing something like that. And the reason is, Mark Zuckerberg sees virtual reality and augmented reality as the new platform. What we think of as a platform today is the internet, but Facebook themselves, one of the biggest players in that market, see virtual reality and augmented reality as a big evolution in that whole platform. So you can just start to understand how seismic a difference it's going to be. Now, Facebook are, of course, working very hard on Facebook VR, and they actually announced in the last couple of days they're going to be rolling it out a lot sooner than many of us actually initially believed. This is from Facebook VR. This is two people sharing experience on Parliament Bridge. You can see a 360 video and photo that's been wrapped around them, and they're having an interaction within that space. So you can see that this is how the future of social media looks, and you can see that it's experiential, and you can see that it's very much conversational. So they're trying to bring it back to people actually being social rather than looking at cats and stuff and drunk mates on the newsfeed, right? So if you want to stand out in this new world, you need to offer experiential content, and that really comes back to how your website is going to look, or your, if it's even called a website anymore, how your e-commerce or eCommerce site is going to be. Now, you're already starting to see this happen on Facebook. I'm sure all of you have seen 360 videos appear on your Facebook newsfeed, and you'll now notice if you take a panoramic photo and you upload it, it automatically becomes the virtual reality experience. So this is Facebook's way of doing two things. One, it's building a library of content so that when Facebook VR does go live, there's already loads of really interesting things on there. And the other thing they're doing, which is very clever, is they're actually programming you on how to behave. They're showing you how to create virtual reality content in a very simple way, so that again, when Facebook VR comes along, you all know exactly what to do, and you're not going, oh, I don't get it. You can just take a photo and it goes straight up. So why should you use VR? There's a few reasons. First one is it's immersive. So you've got everyone's complete attention when they're in a virtual reality experience. They're not looking at anything else. It's impactful. It's awesome, basically. And because it's so awesome, it really has a big impact on people. And because it's both immersive and impactful, it's very much more memorable. People, they don't just look at it on a screen, they're actually living it, so therefore it ingrains in their memory much deeper than just a normal experience of looking at something. Contextual, so you can explain your product to people in a much better way than you can with just a photo or even a video, because people can actually walk around it, they can pick it up, they can look all over it, they can be in it, and that's just such a more powerful thing. And the final reason you should be getting into VR is because it's going to happen anyway, and it's already happening. And believe me, it's going to happen a lot quicker than you think. Now, a really interesting example, when the internet came along, there were a few brands that got it, and there are a few brands that didn't. Okay? Blockbuster Video is a case in point. They thought they were being really clever and futuristic because they started hiring out computer games. They're like, yeah, we are on the pulse. Did you know that Blockbuster got offered Netflix for $50 million early on in their development? $50 million. Paltry $50 million. And Blockbuster turned it down because in them days, the internet wasn't fast enough really to stream for the mass market, and they just couldn't see the viability of it. They liked the fact that people came into their stores. Netflix this year has a market cap value of $50 billion, and we all know what became a blockbuster. Okay, and this really is important for you guys, because this is the new seismic shift. Okay, and you don't want to be the next blockbuster. You want to be the next Netflix. Okay, and now is the time where you can start moving ahead and being ahead of all your competitors, embracing virtual reality and augmented reality, and figuring out how it's going to fit with your business. So, how will VR and AR affect user experience? Now, the early pioneers of these, VR and AR is probably the computer games market, and it's really upset the apple cart in computer games, because all of the things that used to work in computer games don't work at all in virtual reality. Everyone thought, oh brilliant, virtual reality, you can play Medal of Honor in VR and be like running around shooting people. Didn't work at all. They were just throwing up everywhere because the motion sickness they were getting from the running motion, everything like that. Devastated nerds all over the planet, okay? I was one of them. But it's good because now it's really kind of stimulated the creativity on how we design computer games. You've got to come up with new ideas that actually work in VR that didn't work with computer games getting ported across. So it's the same for you guys. Now you need to be thinking in your eCommerce store, how are people going to see your store? Are you going to go back to the old school? Are you going to create like an old, open all hours shop that people can walk around and pick stuff off the shelves? Or are you going to come up with something a bit more interesting than that? Are you going to come up with something that's going to really wow people and make it a fun experience? How are people going to interact with your shop? Are you going to let people upload 360 photos of their front room so they can see what your telly looks like in their front room? Or are you going to create an AR site where people can actually walk around their own home and have your products overlaid inside them? There's lots of things you need to be thinking about with the interaction. The usability. So, are you going to have a shopping cart? How's that going to work? Are you going to make people hold a shopping cart and put stuff in there? Probably not. Like, how's it going to work? Like, when, Sharon wants to look at 3 different types of shoes, I want to look at the blue one, the pink one, and the black one. No, not the black one anymore. Actually, no, bring the black one back. Like, how, on a 2D e-commerce site, you're doing that really quickly and easily. How are you going to be able to do that in an e-commerce site? Data structure. See, I'm sure you guys are big e-commerce sites. You've got massive amounts of products on your site. So how on earth are people stood with no keyboard or mouse and just an empty room going to access all of these different products in a quick and easy way? These are things you really, really need to be thinking about right now. So that's all kind of, in the next 2 or 3 years, and believe me, it's not going to be much longer than that. So think about that for perhaps not this website that you're having built today, but maybe the next one, or for the very latest, the one after that. But there are things you can be doing right now that's working right now with virtual reality, and that is marketing. So you guys all heard of the 0 moment of truth? That's the number of times that people need to see your product or brand before they decide to buy. And that 0 moment of truth varies wildly between a Mars bar and a Volkswagen Passat. If it's a Mars bar, you see it 3 times. If it's a Passat, you see it 30 times, okay? But even so, it's all about people seeing it more than that initial time. And 0 moment of truth is all about attention. And right now, attention is still on the smartphone, okay? And interestingly, we're all guilty of this. We check our phones 150 times a day, and on average, only for about 177 minutes. So we're basically doing this. We're looking at it for about a minute, and we're putting the phone away. So the attention span is frequent, but very, very narrow. So people aren't, and in that 1 minute, you all know, you're checking about 15 different websites and apps and things like that. You don't, it's not like your mum probably does, like, Facebook for about half an hour. We don't do it. We just go bop, 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 bop. That's how we do it. So, yeah, and they're browsing a wide range of channels. Now, as marketers, you're probably thinking, right, well, we run a Facebook marketing campaign, and we focus on that, and we maybe track the results of that. But very few of you are probably doing something like this. So, many of you are marketing. Some of you might be retargeting, but I expect very few of you have got a proper mapped out strategy for following your user journey around the internet, because If you're just sending people to your website once, they're going to go away again, and unless you're doing a lot of things to bring them back, you're probably going to be wasting a lot of marketing budget. So over the years, I've kind of learned the ins and outs of retargeting, all the different ways you can do it, and I've put together this, which is what I call the marketing web. And it's a bit like a spider's web, and the idea is that once you catch someone's attention in your marketing web, you never let it go. And you follow people around wherever whatever channel they're going on. It's essentially stalking. So not only am I a nerd, I'm also a prolific stalker. But even though no one likes a nerdy stalker, actually this stuff really works. It's really powerful because instead of, for example, your PPC campaign driving people into your website and then you hope that someone will buy something, the chances are, because there's zero amount of truth, they won't do that. And so you're chucking loads of money at PPC, hoping they come to your website and hope they buy. But what very few of you are probably doing is thinking, right, well actually, if they land on a website the first time, we can target them and tag them with like a Facebook pixel, a Twitter pixel, and then that way, when they go, bounce straight off your website, you go onto Facebook, as they're definitely going to do, you can target them with, say, like a video about your product, which just explains it a bit more. And then depending on how long they watch that video for, you can then send them to, say, a squeeze page on your website, which offers them some kind of, brochure or some kind of useful bit of content that they can't resist that's going to get them to give you their email address. And then you could put them into something like Infusionsoft, where you can actually create a whole automated system that enables you to hold on to those people and keep building that relationship with them. And you always kind of keep bouncing them round and round and round. And it sounds a bit freaky, and actually if it's done right, it can be done in a really cool way, in a very subtle way, but it keeps people coming back to your website instead of you just letting them go. And that's really, really important, and it really does work. So, but to get people into your marketing web, the first thing you need is really compelling content, and virtual reality content is actually probably the number one thing right now that's getting people's attention above anything else. And I'll give you an example. So a recent test was we had one 2D video and one 360 video set up in two separate campaigns, same budget, same targeting, and these are the results. So the flat video got 237 views, and this is about £500 budget. How many video views for the 360 videos? Exact same kind of video, just a 2D version. How many do you think? Anyone? 1,000? 2,000? Even more than that. 13,455 views. Okay? Versus 237. So that's all lovely, we all like video views. But what's really important is getting people to your website. So click-through rate, the flat video, 0.56%. 360 video, 4.51%. Okay? Massive difference. People really pay attention. And it's because you've got all these different channels, all this different rubbish going on in the newsfeed, loads of cats, and you throw a 360 amazing video at them, they're going to watch it, they're going to go, this is awesome, and because they've watched it, probably not any other reason, but because they've actually bothered to watch the whole thing, that's why they're clicking through to the website more. So, and this is stuff you can do right now. You can do it with 360 video. There's a lot of people now who are offering that kind of stuff. And also you can do real-time 3D experiences. So this is something we created for one of our clients who they have play equipment, right? So play equipment, bloody nightmare to show anyone play equipment, apart from in a brochure. So what we can do is actually, straight from Facebook, take them into a playground where they can look around the play equipment and actually see it like it's, the size it actually is. And actually, if you guys have all got the Google Cardboards you've given me, if you follow the instructions on the box, it'll take you through to a page on a website. You just click start here, and you can download this experience. You can actually try it for yourself. And I'll also give you a bit of a flavour of how I stalk you as well, because I'm not going to lie. I'm going to get your email address, but it'd be interesting for you to see how I target you and how I reach out to you over the next kind of couple of weeks. And just watch that. I'm not weird, don't worry. But you'll see how effective it can possibly be. So please have a go at that. So I'm just going to end with a profound statement, and that is, we all used to believe that the world was flat, and look how stupid that looks now. Okay, so please don't leave today thinking that the internet is still flat, because it isn't. All right, thank you very much.